Today we are here to meet Shadab Mobin, who is the founder of SocialPi, which is an affiliate marketing tech platform, and it has got a very innovative idea behind it. But beyond that, Shadab has been active in the entrepreneurship entire ecosystem for the last 24 years, and he's done some phenomenal work when it comes to incubating startups as well. So let's go and ask him and know more about what he is doing. Hello Shadab.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Very well. Thank you so much.
Alright. So Shadab, like we were talking that you've been in the ecosystem for the past 24 years. How have you seen the entire entrepreneurship ecosystem evolving over the decades?
So I've been in the ecosystem for past 14 years. My total work experience is 24 years. I started off as a banker, and after spending some time with one of the leading private sector banks, I ventured on doing something on my own. That was in 2005. It was a casual dining chain that we brought to India. Till about 2010, I was with that business. And subsequent to that, I got the opportunity to be part of entrepreneurship development ecosystem. And the first organization in India, I can say that safely, which actually started doing a lot of work on entrepreneurship development was National Entrepreneurship Network, which is now known as Wadhwani Foundation.
And when did you join them?
That was in 2010. So I was given the responsibility of developing Delhi NCR region, Noida, Delhi, and Gurgaon. And we were interacting with a lot of educational institutions, primarily engineering colleges and management institutes. There we conducted faculty development programs, trained the trainers, so to say, and also engaged with the students and sort of created the environment and excitement about entrepreneurship. And these were very early times of entrepreneurship in that sense. And so a lot of work, a lot of people who got associated at that point of time, eventually they became the leaders when it came to events, or people who actually went ahead and started their own accelerator programs. Lot of churning happened.
So you basically kind of molded the people who are going to be the force behind the entire entrepreneurship and
Yes.
Startup India system that is nowadays.
Yes, so I was one part of that entire, so to say. It was led by National Entrepreneurship Network, and subsequent to that, people of my own ventures, unsuccessful. But then I was always in the midst. So I was interacting with students, advising a lot of startups. In 2018, I got this opportunity to work with a Delhi government-led initiative wherein business incubators were opened in education institutes. So I was heading one of the, I was selected to head one of the business incubators, which was called ANDC in Start. ANDC is Achar Narendra Dev College. It's a DU college. Okay. And so that was the only DU college which got the business incubator. And despite it being an undergrad college, we did some wonderful work. In the span of 4 years, we were able to support 16 startups, out of which we funded 11. And we disbursed a cumulative amount of close to about 91 lakh rupees. Okay. And at least 3 of them I know, they have done exceedingly well to stay afloat. But out of total 16, 3 if they are able to do reasonably well, we can.
Would you like to name them? So
the top of the pack in that entire bunch of 16 is a brand called Khiladi Adda. It's a gaming company. It's a real money gaming company. They are doing very well, and I'm still advising them on a very regular basis. I left the incubator in 2022, but on the request of the founders, I joined as a full-time advisor to them. There's another one which is called Metvi. Again, it is by very young people. Both the co-founders passed out in 2020 of Metvi also. When they started the venture, that was a hyper local networking platform they were building. But in 2020, the corona happened, COVID happened, and then entire physical meeting scenario changed. And then they pivoted I think end of 2021 or early 22, they molded into a cohort-based mentoring platform, and they are doing very well. Got very a sizable number of mentors from leading organizations like all the big four consulting organization. People, very top people of those organizations are mentors, and they are those programs for students, and it's a cohort-based model. Apart from that, there is another company called Elpida, which is into publishing. Heradi Adda, they have been the best so far.
Okay. So Shadab, you've been actually at the epicenter of the entire Startup India system and the entrepreneurship ecosystem. What advice would you give to somebody who wants to start their own business idea? Suppose somebody has a business idea and let's break down the entire process and go bit by bit. So if somebody has a startup idea, what are the 3 things they should keep in mind?
The starting point always should be, what is the problem that is being solved, or what need is being addressed. When I say problem, it also encompasses the need. So you need to start with that. Anyone who's trying to look at any situation and trying to see something that needs to be solved, there has to be a problem or a need that needs to be addressed. And then who's always have to start with the problem, that needs to be kept in mind. Unless, of course, it's a breakthrough, some technological breakthrough has happened, and then you see that can be utilized in some other place, which happens once in a while, very rarely. Most of the time, most of the startups will have to start with the problem first, and then build around that entire thing, whose problem it is, what are the major pain points that person is facing. And almost always you will have to answer whether that problem is big enough that the person who's facing that problem is going to pay you, right? For example, there might be a problem, but it's a problem, it is there. I feel that there's a problem, but someone says that I'm willing to solve that problem for you, but you'll have to give this much amount to me. I'll say, it's okay, let that be. That problem is not big enough for me to actually spend money, or there has to be some other way that that person who is giving that service or solution has a way of making money, even if that money is not coming from the pocket of the buyer or the person who is utilizing the service. Just to give you an example, Facebook. I mean, we use Facebook, but we actually don't pay anything to Facebook. But Facebook makes money, and they have worked out a way that the consumer, the people who are actually utilizing the services primarily, they utilize the service, but they don't have to pay it upfront. We are paying in a different way because we actually have become the product. Right. So they go to corporates or wherever, I mean, wherever they are selling their services, that they have these kind of user base, this kind of demography. You will all want to put this kind of message in front of them. So we actually are becoming products to that particular solution. So just to wrap it up, you'll have to start with a problem, see whether that problem is big enough and acute enough that somebody is willing to shell out some money to solve that problem, and then whether that market or the size of that problem is big enough for that to become a business. For example, that problem might be there, somebody might be willing to pay, but those people who are actually facing their problem or the people who are willing to pay are not big enough. So that might not be a great place to start if we are trying to solve a problem for making it a business enterprise. I'm going to qualify it when I'm saying a business enterprise, because you can start a social enterprise also. True. Right? You can start a social enterprise where a very small set of people are facing a problem and you have a solution, and your intent is not to make money here. You want to contribute in any other way. So that is a different ball game altogether. But when you are trying to build up a business, the market should be big enough, the opportunity should be big enough, the problem should be acute enough. Depending on what solution are you building, then you will have to answer that question whether yourself or within the team you have the capability of developing that solution.
So also when you were talking about funding and all that, do you think somebody should have a designated fund before starting up, saved maybe from their own salaries, or a fund by family,
right?
To sail through the initial few months,
right,
at least.
So so we jokingly say that the first people that you actually apart from yourself putting your own money on the line, the other than that, the people who actually back are FFF, friends, family and fools, right? So these are the people who blindly trust you. Your father is going to trust you not because he likes the idea, because he likes you. Because he says, okay, fine, you are doing it, I'm behind you. Your best friend might be willing to support you and say that, okay, fine, I'm willing to back you up, right? Or somebody who doesn't understand anything but blindly, and that's where we jokingly say fools, right? But on a serious note, I mean, these are the people who will back the person rather than the product, right? Rather than the solution. So initial funding will always happen on the team, right? So there the personal credibility of the founder, the sincerity of the founder comes into play. There might be somebody who's outside these three things that we talked about. He could be your professor, right? He would have seen you, their mentors or guides actually end up putting some initial money, right? So it's a very common phenomenon. Professors will actually be co-founders or first people on the investor table.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So and hopefully this should catch up in India. A lot of academic institutions are encouraging such teams to develop. In my experience, while interacting with a lot of education institutions, so we have seen this evolve. So a guide and a mentee team experience, they are straight out of their college and they want to do something. And who's going to back them? The education institution from where they are getting educated. So most of the education institution, I had the fortune of being part of education institution backed business incubator, and we get a variety of ideas, right? Some weird, some wild, but excitement there is amongst the student community to do something. And that's how the ecosystem is developed.
So this brings us to the question, when should a company approach an investor, and what should be their preparation before they approach the investor?
See, and I'm assuming somebody who is not connected with you, right?
Right, like a venture capitalist.
Right. So venture capitalist a little later stage. I mean, venture capitalists will always come at a matured level. Whether when you have a 3 years, 4 years business cycle already done, some numbers, some sales number there, or some matrix which gives confidence to the investor that this is going to work. They are not going to come at a very early stage. Early stage, either your immediate family, friends, business incubators will come. Government grants are there, which is going to be accessed, of people. Lot of grants are available. And then once you put your product out in the market and do some initial traction, you develop an initial traction. That traction could be number of users. That traction could be number of early signups, and it could be sales also, right? But when you reach that number, then you approach smaller investors, and these are called angel investors, right? So they are the ones who are taking small bets. Generally, an angel network investment cannot be done in the traditional way, that you earn money and then put, because then it is going to prolong the entire process. So just to speed up the process, you need growth capital, and this growth capital comes after you have performed the initial phase of the business.
So this also brings me to the question that a lot of founders prefer to be bootstrapped, traditional founders. But the new age founders, they're always looking for funding, and they're always looking for ways to get into the funding ecosystem wherein a venture capitalist will fund them. Which one would be a wiser idea in the long run?
See, I mean, there cannot be a value judgment here. I mean, it simply depends on the business economics of that enterprise, and also the way the entrepreneur looks at the business. If he's in a hurry, he wants to. Or he is running after glamour, which is happening very, very often these days. and some very negative consequences have also accompanied that. People have been conservative also. I mean, despite being into new age businesses, technology driven businesses, there have been a lot of businesses which have sustained without external capital. The biggest name and one of the most respected business from India, which can be given as an example, is Zoho. Zoho has not raised any external capital for a considerable period of time. I think still they don't have any external investors, but they have built a $1 billion enterprise already. And then you have other examples wherein a lot of growth capital have actually propelled businesses to great heights and justified the growth capital that has come in. A lot of time growth capital is just coming because the founder is in a hurry to reach a milestone, right?
Moving on from funding, when it comes to taking the business forward, like you said, everybody is more inclined towards making it a unicorn business. How can somebody take the business forward from step 1 to step 2 and 3?
See, the very nature of a business enterprise is to make money, to make profits.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of entrepreneurs have made money from investors' money. But lately, the investors have also become smarter. They had always been smart, but I don't know why it happened that, or because they had a lot of money to actually disburse, and there was a fear of losing out to others. So some bad investments happened and some overboiling of the sector happened. But overall, at the end of the day, businesses will sustain if they are making money.
Right.
Right. There will be always the limit to what extent you can funds coming in, but eventually somebody will have to say where's the money. I mean, there has to be a bottom line. Right. That needs to be kept in mind. So some businesses, some tech-driven businesses will have a longer gestation to reach a profitable stage. But then there has to be a horizon. It could be 10 years, it could be 20 years, it could be 25 years, but would want to reach a 10 million user base, and to reach that number, you will have to pump in a lot of money. But then for the initial 10,000 or 20,000 or 50,000 user base, are you making money every time a transaction is happening? So you need to be unit positive, so to say. Okay. And this has suddenly come to the fore. All the discussions are centered around that. Even at a very initial stages, investors are now asking to show the unit economics. Okay. Which they were earlier a little patient and not talking. Then they were pushing for growth first and then profitability. But now they are trying to strike a balance.
And how is AI being used in sales and marketing?
Affecting the user behavior,
right.
AI is going to be used a lot. Even in advertising, AI is being used. There are businesses which are telling as to what kind of color scheme, what kind of music you need to put to whenever you are talking to a set of consumers. You give them the input so far as the demography is concerned, and it is going to suggest, the AI is going to suggest that this is the kind of visual that needs to go along with this communication. So a lot of innovation is happening, and AI is going to be a very strong element in all this.
So also for an entrepreneur, how important is it to build his own brand? We see a lot of entrepreneurs going all out on LinkedIn also, everywhere. And
you mean the personal brand?
Yeah, the personal brand. How important is it for them?
It is important to an extent that it helps that particular entrepreneur reach out to potential employees, potential investors, and to some extent potential customers also. So we all know somebody like Aman Gupta, right?
Right.
A lot of people started using both because they saw Aman Gupta on Shark Tank, right? Or they started thinking, yaar, he's a great guy, अच्छा बंदा है, अच्छा good success story है इसकी. And people want to support such people. But then there is a negative thing also. I will not name somebody, but somebody might project himself in a manner which might harm the brand also. Right? So it's a double-edged sword. I mean, it can help you. It definitely helps, but it can harm you as well. So you need to strike a balance. What kind of persona you are creating, whether that persona is a complete fiction or it has a strong element of what you really are. Lot of persona on LinkedIn is PR created, right? But then when you interact with that person on a one-to-one basis, then you realize, no, he's not the person which I was imagining. Now that whether you are a potential employee or a potential investor, when that happens, it will definitely have a negative impression on the person who is interacting. As compared to even if there is somebody who is just putting a post every month or maybe every 3 months, doesn't matter, but at least he's real. Right, whatever it comes across on those platforms, and when he interacts with you personally, if there is not much of a variation, people are very comfortable. जैसा सोचा था वैसा पाया था. What you see is what you get. If that doesn't happen, I think people take that a little negatively.
You also mentioned PR, kind of formulating the personalities of brands also and personal brands of founders also.
Right.
How critical do you think is PR in today's scenario?
So again, I said, I mean, PR is also, it has two purposes. A business's PR would be towards customers, towards investors, right? Now, depending on, so what is brand? What is advertising? Advertising is make-believe, right?
Right.
So you project a product in a manner that it catches the fancy of a customer, and then he or she is going to consume that service or product.
At IBL, that is what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
We're trying to actually bring to Forte, we're actually here, we're trying to bring people across who haven't been in the limelight,
right,
to bring across their stories, what they're doing.
At a real level. Right?
At a real level, going into their offices and talking about what they're doing on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So, talking about your enterprise, what are you doing at SocialPi?
So, at SocialPi, what we are trying to build is a social e-commerce enabler ecosystem at a platform level. When I say social e-commerce enabler, it means that we'll be engaging with all the elements which is there in the social e-commerce space. Now, you have brands at one level, which is trying to catch the attention of their customers, and they are utilizing the services of influencers, right? Earlier, this was done at a level where only celebrities were doing it. Now, it has come to a level that people at a very micro level or a nano influencer level, they are also being, their importance is being felt by the brand, that even if somebody is able to influence 1,000 people, he can be utilized. Now, this needs to be done in a very organized manner. In the past 4-5 years, 6 years, this has evolved, but largely it remains a little unorganized. So we are trying to give some organization to the whole space. So we'll be interacting with the brands, giving them opportunity to engage with people who can influence the sales decisions of their follower base, so to say. So our first vertical that we have launched in November is around affiliate marketing. The approach that we are taking to this is that anyone can be an affiliate. Traditionally, affiliate marketing has been done for a while, and it has been there, but mostly because it was difficult to actually collect the data as to which of the affiliate is performing, and if he's performing, that he needs to be paid, and so on and so forth. So brands were putting a lot of filters. So you only qualify to become an affiliate if you have certain matrix in place, right? It could be your followers, it could be your engagement on the social media. Now what we are saying is anyone can be an influencer. We are trying to create a tech which takes care of this problem for brands, that they don't have to worry about whether one person is performing or let's say 1,000 people are there and not performing. So brands don't have to worry about that. We bring an ecosystem of affiliate who are willing to become affiliates. They could be on WhatsApp, they could be on Discord, they could be on Telegram, or they could be public facing Instagram influencers. And they can take the link of the brand and then talk about those products to their audience and enable a transaction. So So at one level, brands will be onboarded onto the platform. We've already onboarded close to about 32 brands. Okay. And on the other hand, there will be a bigger ecosystem or a community development that is happening, wherein we are bringing a lot of people who are interested in becoming affiliates. That number is close to about 50,000 now.
Which is great.
Yeah, and we would want to scale it up, and the number that we are looking at is close to about 1 million. So this is what we are enabling at this stage. Then we want to be at a place where we can deliver value to even the influencers or affiliates who are on the platform, even if they are not able to enable the transaction for other brands. And we are bringing a module which is going to be a subscription and donation module. Okay. Now, a lot of times you would have seen a lot of content creators who are developing great contents, right? But then these contents are in the nature of driving a lot of very high volumes, and they're not able to monetize that content. So they have to actually depend on some kind of support from the community. Right. So we are going to enable a mechanism wherein people are going to give subscription to their community. So for example, I'm teaching a subject, let's say design thinking, right? I'm a great content creator when it comes to design thinking, but design thinking being a very specialized subject, it will not have millions of consumers. So I will say, okay, I'm going to start a cohort of, let's say, 20 people. Out of these 20 people, I'm going to charge 500 rupees, a week-long course. And I will take the subscription, and these people will become part of the cohort, and that's how a batch gets created. So if you're a content creator, you can be a trainer, you can create a batch, you can ask for support, monetary support, and that the platform is going to enable. So that is going to be done in our subscription and donation module. The third will be a marketplace. So if I'm an influencer, I have a decent number of people who are following me, but now I would want to have another source of revenue wherein I want to sell some merchandise, some testing of water, so to say, before I want to actually start a brand. So I've become a great brand name, right? A person can become a brand, right? And I want to launch, let's say, a fashion line on my name, right? So a marketplace will be created. They can come and create a storefront for themselves and take that storefront in front of their followers and ask people to actually transact. The platform is going to take care of the payments, it's going to take care of the shipment, it's going to take care of the storefront and everything. Okay. So that is the third stage of the plan. And the eventual whatever data is going to get created, we will be in a position to actually tell the brands that these are the kind of influencers or people or content creator who might be of use to you if you want to have a very a sort of a brand deal, so to say, that you want to give them upfront money and they can talk about the brand, sort of a endorsement. So that brand deal will become more data driven rather than a word of mouth or reference. So I know somebody who is having a 1 million follower base and I recommend it to a brand. So it becomes not data driven, but it is more of a recommendation. What we want to do is to bring data as a strong element of decision making while deciding who is going to talk about your brand.
Okay.
So that is going to be the eventual, that's the whole ecosystem that we are building.
That's very interesting, and I'm sure with the kind of experience you've had, you must have thought through all the aspects of it, of the business.
So so my experience while advising, so a lot of D2C brands were there, and recently we have seen a lot of D2C brand. Shark Tank has actually given them lot of. Then over a period of time, as a mentor and advisor to a lot of startups, I had interacted with a lot of D2C brand, and I've seen what are the kind of pains that they have. They're able to crack the supply part. They are able to crack the design part. The biggest problem comes when they actually make an attempt to reach out to the customers. Advertising budgets are limited. At least we're talking about the early stage, people who are struggling to reach a 5 lakh per month business or a 10 lakh rupees per month business. These are the people who are struggling. I mean, they don't have that kind of marketing budget. Big brands like a Boat or a Mamaearth, they have big budgets, right? And they have big budget because they have toiled in their early days. They have done very heavy lifting initially.
Mamaearth also started with a lot of...
but they were at a stage when they were also struggling how to reach out, right? But now they are big brands. Now, so the good thing about entrepreneurship is that people actually see a success story from this standpoint when they are successful. Behind every successful brand, there is a lot of effort and pains.
True.
All these brands, whether it's a Mamaearth or a boat or Lenskart, and they've all gone through a lot of pains in their journey.
So being an advisor, and I don't think it's a very good note to end it on, when would you advise somebody to shut their business?
So very, very fast. They should know they should be in a position to actually take a call whether it is working or not. Unless, of course, I mean, they are getting a lot of investor backing. That's a different story. They can prolong the process of dying down, but eventually they'll die down. If it's not working, it's not.
So thank you, Shadab, for those insights, and I'm sure our viewers must have been really enlightened, and they've gotten a deep insight into how the entrepreneurship ecosystem works. So stay tuned. We'll be back with another episode next time. Bye-bye.